NextWaveDV presents NAB 2013. Made possible by Kessler Crane, innovative tools for filmmakers. Red Rock Micro, introducing the one-man crew. Zeiss, we make it visible.
Hey, this is Sean from NextWaveDV, and I'm here with Mike from Sony Creative Software. We're going to be checking out a new software that they have called SpectraLayers Pro. He's going to give us a quick demo of that, show us what it can do.
Great. Now, SpectraLayers Pro is a program that allows you to take an audio file and import it into the program and view the audio data as a colored spectra. And you can get inside of that spectra and kind of unmix the sounds inside of it into new and different layers. So as opposed to your traditional, typical waveform editing, this display is just way more deep and detailed and sophisticated, and allows you to just kind of reach in and grab individual sounds out.
It's easier to recognize patterns.
It's totally easier, and in our demo you'll see that there's some very clear patterns that the program sort of intelligently picks up on and moves to a different layer. It's very cool.
All right, well, let's go ahead with the demo.
All right. The first thing we do is we import a sound. And in SpectraLayers, we call it, of course, a layer. But a sound file, this will import just about any kind of sound file format. So we'll import a layer, and our layer is called BBC Mono Newscast. And so we bring this up, and as you can see, the sound immediately comes up on the screen as a green spectral display. Let's play this and hear what it sounds like.
People still coming to terms with the night of rioting which caused such devastation on their high street, and much of that street is in fact now a crime scene, about half a mile of it, as police officers continue their investigation.
Okay, now it's really easy to see the siren in this spectra as an undulating sort of band of light. And what we want to do is we want to get control over just that part of the sound. And that's what makes this program so different than other wave editing programs where you see a sound as just a regular wave file. So the first thing we do is we create a new layer, and the new layer comes up over here in red. That means it's ready to be exported to. And what we'll do is we'll take a tool over here called a harmonic extraction tool, and what this tool does is it allows you to identify a sound in the spectra, but not only do you identify the sound, you identify the harmonics above it.
Yeah, I can see that. It's actually
right.
Selecting those.
As you can see, it's selecting more than just what the cursor is hovering over. It's selecting harmonics as well. So with our cursor positioned over the sound, if I hit the tab key, I can solo just that part of the sound like this. And you can hear the siren sort of in isolation, and again, we're hearing the siren and its associated harmonic overtone series. If I left click on that, it turns yellow, and that means that I've extracted that sound over to its new layer. Now, if I continue with my cursor going over the sound, I can select, and every time I click, I can grab it, grab that sound, and move that over to my new layer. And so I can sort of hold down the mouse button if I want and draw. But this, you can see that the program intelligently seeks forward into the sound. And I'm seeking forward into the sound at about 2.1 seconds. But I can back off on that a little bit up here if I want to and go down to, say, a half a second. And as you can see, but then I select shorter portions. And so once I get down to the end of the file, I've extracted the siren out of the entire file, and if I solo that layer, you can see now that the siren exists on its own layer. If I move my contrast controls, you can see that I've taken the siren sound as well as its harmonic overtone series. Now let's solo that and hear what it sounds like. Okay, now there are several bits of this sound that are not siren, and so I can go into that layer and grab my eraser tool, and I can hover over those sounds and take them out of the layer. Like, say, for example, here we have a sound that is not siren. If I want to, I can zoom in on that sound and get real close to it and I can go in there and I can start taking it out of the layer. If I need more detail, I have like a 3D extrusion tool here where I can go in there and continue further to work on the sound to my heart's content.
Now, when you're erasing that, is it also targeting the harmonics when you're doing that too, or do you have to do that all manually?
Good question. No, it's not targeting the harmonics because the nuances of each harmonic band is a little bit different.
Okay.
And so, right. And so, as you can see, that one error that I was looking at, that error only takes place in between one of the bands. And so, no, you have to kind of do it manually. But now that we have this siren isolated, what can we do with it? Well, if you know what the principle of noise cancellation headphones is about, it kind of works on the same principle. If you take the siren sound and you place the sound out of phase with the source material, watch, you can see that it just disappears. So here we have the original layer, BBC mono. Here we have the new layer. If I take the new layer and put it out of phase, it disappears from the mix. And I turn up my contrast control, and you can see that now what was once siren is now just sort of a black hole in the spectra. Now let's hear what this sounds like. This is the sound file now without the siren.
People still coming to terms with the night of rioting which caused such devastation on their high street, and much of that street is in fact now a crime scene, about half a mile of it, as police officers continue their investigation.
Okay, let's do an A-B. Yeah.
That was great.
It's really cool, right? Now let's do an A-B comparison with and without. I'll just click this in and out of phase as it plays.
People still coming to terms with the night of rioting which caused such devastation on their high street, and much of that street is in fact now a crime scene, about half a mile of it, as police officers continue their investigation.
Okay, and last but not least, if I have this sound out of phase, it's completely gone. But if I want to bring it in on this fader a little bit, I can bring it back, to add a little bit of excitement back into the scene. So if I bring the siren back at a 2 dB level, we now have the siren in the file, in the sound, but it's not as loud as it was.
People still coming to terms with the night of rioting which caused such devastation on their high street, and much of that street is in fact now a crime scene, about half a mile of it, as police officers continue their investigation.
And so you can hear it in the program, it's not as intrusive. And, excuse me. So as you can see, this is a really great solution for audio post for broadcasting, where you want to do some quick and easy modifications of your sound in order to make it more intelligible to your viewers, or to subtract some unwanted noises and artifacts.
Yeah, if you don't have any control over the environment that you're in, you just need to get the sound, and you can kind of fix it a little bit here.
That's exactly right. And for environmental recordings in particular, this program is very, very useful because, of course, you don't have control over the environment, but you can gain a lot of control over the results of your recording in SpectraLayers Pro in post.
Great. And is there an interconnectivity of this in SoundForge?
There absolutely is. And I'll show you very quickly what that kind of interactivity can accomplish. It's an amazing process. Say, for example, you're a remix artist, and you want to do some heavy damage to a track and some heavy modification. So I'll open up this this beat file here. Okay, you can see that the drum beats look like sort of like genes in a piece of DNA. And these are the individual drum hits. Now this is so cool because I can select on this file, grab a lasso tool up here, select by frequency, and if I pick one of these drum sounds like this, I make a selection that covers the entire file length. So now I've selected on this drum. I can cut it. I can start a new layer. I can paste this sound down into its own layer. And now I have the drum sound existing in its own layer. Now the fun starts when I decide I want to do some processing to this. And so let's go to the I/O external wave editor. And what we'll do is we'll export this file directly out of SpectraLayers Pro and into SoundForge Pro Mac.
Well, just a quick note too. Obviously, we're working on the Mac, and you're porting this over to SoundForge Pro Mac, which is new, correct? It's now on the Mac.
That's another new program, and this is SoundForge Pro Mac. And now the you can see that this drum sound is now in one of the 2 available editor pane options for SoundForge Pro Mac. So I have a bunch of good Waves plugins on here. We like those, and I like these Stompbox plugins. So let's grab a Stompbox plugin, and we have a Stomp 4 stereo. And I'm just going to kind of randomly apply some effects to this. I'm not really sure what I'm going to get. It might sound great. Oh, this sounded pretty good last time. This is called Driving the Dotted Eighth. So it's going to put some some syncopated time-based effects on these drums.
All right.
And so let's preview it and hear what that's going to sound like. All right. Now let's add a bunch more distortion to it. Crank up the tone. Bring the feedback down a little bit. All right, good enough for now. So I can process that sound, and now it's been plug-in processed. I can save the file, exit SoundForge Pro Mac. Now we're back at SpectraLayers, and SpectraLayers is prompting me, asking me, do I want to import this process file back into SpectraLayers Pro? And I say yes. Now watch. Here's the old drum sound, and here is the new drum sound. Now, in the meantime, over in the original file, this is not, remember now, this is not a phase reversal exercise. So over in the original file, what we took out is just a black hole in the spectra, right here where that drum sound was. But if you mix the 2 together, you can hear that the result is going to be the new process sound in place of the old sound that we removed. I can mix that here to make that more prominent, and so we'll turn down the original a little bit, and we'll bring up the process sound. And now what we've managed to do is extract the frequency band out of a sound file that's already been mixed, apply some really hardcore effects processing to it, and then reintegrate it. And so, you might be getting the idea now that there's really no limit to what you can do with a stereo mixed file. As long as you can see the object in the spectra as a target, you can remove that to a new layer for silencing or changing the gain or notch filtering or doing heavy signal and effects processing. Basically anything you want.
So the bridge that you have there is only natively between SoundForge Pro and SpectraLayers. You can't use like Pro Tools or anything like that?
You can. SpectraLayers will allow you to select the application that you want to send the WAV file to. Now, we're currently working on this SoundForge SpectraLayers interoperability story, where you will be able to move files more freely back and forth between SoundForge and SpectraLayers, as well as move groups of files back and forth. And so we have these things in the oven cooking up right now, and so I would expect that you're going to see a lot more evolution in the way SpectraLayers and SoundForge talk to each other. And that's one of the most exciting things about Sony Creative Software, being able to offer these 2 programs as sort of a complementary pair or a team of programs that allow you to do the kinds of editing that previously was just absolutely not available at any price. And so this kind of revolutionary and groundbreaking, and we're just so pleased to have SpectraLayers Pro as well as SoundForge Mac in our catalog. And then, of course, the evolution of Sony Creative Software applications on the Mac platform is only now just beginning, and so we're looking forward to a lot more fun,
Yeah, definitely. So obviously we're working on the Mac, so this is also available on the PC.
It is.
And what is the price point for both the SpectraLayers Pro and SoundForge?
SpectraLayers Pro is about $399, and SoundForge Pro Mac is about $299. And so on a good day, you can probably get a few dollars off, get a good deal. Keep your eyes open. Keep coming back to SonyCreativeSoftware.com, looking for the deal of the day, and you'll get a good price. Very competitively priced products.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mike. We appreciate your time.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
Subscribe to NextWaveDV, where filmmakers get educated.